There we are.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Happy Monday, everyone. Hey, Deb. Dana, how are you? Patricia, Karen, how's everyone doing? A dreary Monday.
Hey, Judy. Laura.
Yeah, it was just gross out there. Chilly,
Yeah.
rainy, gross. Hate that weather, like that in between spring and winter mess in New Jersey. We were in Atlanta and it was 70 degrees every day, pretty much.
Yeah, it was
I
nice.
enjoyed that.
Hey, Marianne and David.
Anyway, how's everyone doing? Hope you had a good weekend. We
Kelly.
actually were together over the weekend. Carl invited us back up to Germania Park in Dover. We went there Saturday night. It was me, Chris, Tanya, Kenny, and Danielle. Carl was there with his wife, Heather. Ziggy was there. And special guest, Adolf.
I got the privilege.
You gotta explain who Adolf is.
Yeah, he is a member of the German club who does come from Germany. He came over here when he was 14.
Hey, Donna.
He speaks German, and a dialect of German. And what did they call?
He speaks fluent, man. I mean,
very fluent.
Yes.
But there's a dialect that
Well,
he was saying that there's a dialect that he speaks and a dialect that Ziggy speaks. But he also can speak. What do they call it? High German. There's a High German too. And I got the privilege of sitting down and talking to him for quite an extensive time and getting to know him, and what a character. I got to learn so many things from this guy. I think he's in his 80s.
I don't know. He's
in his 80s.
He's an older gentleman.
He's 80s. I think he said 80s. Yeah, I think he said he was 86. And it was just his brain that just fires on everything and what he remembered. And he'd ask a question and he was curious. The first thing he was doing, he goes, "I'm going to tell you about me." And he did. He told you about where he came from, what portions, when he came over here.
He was the president of another German club for years.
He was, for 6 years. He was the president of one German club. He also stated that he was in a concentration camp. There were just so much stuff. And he was the CEO of a big company. And And it was just amazing to talk and listen to the history and some of the stuff from his life behind what he did and how he interpreted things. It was really cool.
Yeah. So he was our one of our interpreters for the night because you can't be at a place that's been around for as long as that place has been around. And again, originally those clubs were just they were for people that came from Germany
Yeah.
and German descent. So in the early days, it was all German probably being spoke there with some
And that was
English.
the thing when you had stepped away to do what you needed to do. I was actually taught that we were talking back and forth, and they were saying that in the clubs that it was like each club was for a certain section of people. You know, like so if there was a German club, this German
George,
club
Nikki,
served just this
Kathy.
area. This other German club served that area. It was like you couldn't mix them like what you do now.
So to finish my sentence,
Sorry.
Oof. Coffee is kicking.
Oof.
But George was our interpreter because again, you can't do an investigation of a place like that and not have someone who speaks German. You have to kind of do your diligence. And throughout the night, what we did was whenever we were doing EVPs or just asking questions in general, we would ask in English, wait a while and see if we got a response, and then Adolf or Ziggy would ask in German and wait a while to see if we got a response. And we kind of did that throughout the night in different areas. And the one clip that I did post, I'm just going through, it's in sections. So I have to do every section. We started upstairs, went through here and there and there and there. So I have to go through sections and rewatch everything again. I was telling Danielle and Tanya that the cool thing about investigating it and then watching it is that you miss stuff when you're in the moment that you could then go back and watch. It happens at the Creeper Gallery too sometimes when I have to
Because you're focused somewhere else.
cut that footage for the auctions. And in this case, I was watching the beginning where we're up at the bar, and there's some other stuff that's kind of like it. The problem with that area is it's a little loud. There's different things. The kitchen's right by there, so um, they're loud. It's hard to do EVPs up there, and we did, and we got something, but it's really hard to make out. And but that was the clip that I posted. Tanya and Adolf were down there originally doing EVPs together, and then Adolf was just in that area by himself, and we were all at the other end of the bar. And again, I didn't realize it came through so fast on the spirit box that we all missed it. And when none of us speak German, so we wouldn't have known what that word meant.
Nope.
And here's this older gentleman, Adolf, sitting there, and I have no idea what he was saying. I have to ask him about that. But he kind of would repeat what we said and then add his own little part to it. And I think he was just going along those lines of inviting somebody over and the word upa, which I would have never known in a million years. So I literally went to Google, typed in German word upa, OPA, and that's when the definition came up that it meant grandpa or granddad. And here I'm thinking, here's this older gentleman talking out loud, inviting people to come over. And what are the odds that the spirit box at that time said upa?
And you know the crazy part
That was
is
really
that
cool.
he's been a member there for over 20 some odd years.
Hey, Marie.
So whatever is there would know him.
Lisa. Or just in general, if it was obviously a younger person, a child that answered, whoever was present maybe didn't know him, but they recognized him as a grandfatherly figure. He reminded them.
Or stating that, hey, you remind me, yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But really, really cool. And again, I got to get through a lot of the other sections. And there wasn't a ton of activity there, just like the first time we did the live stream. Uh, there wasn't a lot going on that night. And again, I'm going to review it all to see if there are more things that are in there that we didn't catch live. But
I can tell you what we didn't catch live. Well, what I saw firsthand. You guys were filming in the area you were filming, and I was standing right in that doorway watching across where somebody
Oh, yeah.
had died, and we had a bunch of tripwires that were along the stairwell where he was and by the bathroom area, and it lit up. It's just like it all of a sudden just like lit up all the colors from the tripwire, and I'm like, well, and then all of a sudden it just blacked right out, like something literally came up or down those stairs and went away. And it was every time Adolf was speaking in German that
Hmm.
that would happen.
Yeah. Again, I didn't. None of us witnessed that. Chris
No.
was the only one who witnessed it, and again, it's a shame because when things like that happen, they happen so fast. And if you're not a TV show that has cameras
Yeah.
in every angle,
I
filming
was
everything,
so upset that we weren't able to
yeah,
catch
you're gonna
that. I
miss
was
that
like, I
stuff.
mean, again, EVPs are again the cornerstone of solid evidence when you get something really clear. But when you actually see something, and not a mirage and not just a little something, but it was I was literally staring at right. It was door to door. It was right, like there was a door where I was standing at, the room that they were in off to the side that led to the other door that went out to the stairwell there. And you literally just see this mask go whoomp right there. And I'm like,
Yeah. And we talk about debunking things, trying to, and you know, a lot of the times, if it's really, really something in question, and somebody can make an argument for what else it might be,
mm-hmm,
clip it, throw it out. Even though,
yeah.
we're standing at the bar, and we're at the one side of the bar, and we're all focused our attention at the whole entire bar all the way to the end, and I witnessed. It started as like a blurry light, and then it turned into like a it was almost like a rectangle light that just appeared and then disappeared. I saw it with my eyes. So did Carl, who's the president. And Kenny was mapping what he claimed was like an energy surge on the SLS, which appears as like a black blob. And I saw it. I have it on video.
Oh, really?
But the problem is, again, after kind of going back and forth, I even question myself because where Germania Park is, you have to go off the main road and you
Yeah.
have to go up
It's
through
up.
the woods and you're up on a mountain. And car headlights really shouldn't cast shadows up there because it's not level. You're up on a mountain, the cars are down here. So I saw it and I caught it on video, and I was Danielle and I were going back and forth on text about some other stuff, and she basically called me and said, look, maybe a car was making a U-turn down there, and maybe it reflected off of a stop sign and just cast a quick light up there.
And sometimes the cops do come up on that hill.
Is it possible? Yes.
But why would it create that?
Yeah, but either way, either scenario
it's a question
was
mark,
possible.
so you can't use it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I can't
So yeah.
claim it as
No, you
evidence.
can't.
So I had to throw it out because even though it was cool and we witnessed it and it was something that happened really fast,
You have to throw it out as the possibility.
Yeah.
Because if there's something that can explain it, then it's obvious you go with the normal before you go to the paranormal.
yeah, and it was again kind of frustrating because Carl and I did see it live, and it just wham, it was there,
And you both saw
and it
it.
didn't happen again. The whole entire time we were there, before and after, it didn't happen.
And yet cars were still. But again,
How do you know? You don't know.
you don't. But
So,
well, meaning the town was still early enough where cars were still going. It's a residential area down there. If it had hit the stop sign, and the stop sign is a good half a mile away.
not half a mile, but it's down the road. But anyway, regardless, if it's in question, you just gotta kind of because you don't want to again show something that could be questionable. So threw that out. I'm literally, that's the beginning of the investigation, was in the bar. Our original plan was to start where we stopped last time, which is Chris and I were getting EVPs in the basement. There's a men's room, believe it or not, with stairways that lead into that really cool room where they have meetings. We got a couple of EVPs down there after the phone battery died, and we stopped streaming. But we didn't. With Adolf there, we had to do our diligence and start again at the beginning and kind of make our way through the building. And we did that. And like I said, wasn't a lot that happened. like I said, I need to go through the footage. I don't want to talk about it before I show it.
Yeah, we don't
But
want to ruin
there
it.
were little things here and there that were just kind of like, okay, maybe. And so that was a little tidbit of again things that come through sometimes. I'm watching this. You know, I'm going to go off on a tangent a little bit, but I'm watching this other group investigate this bridge or something somewhere, and um, I like there's like two apps that I'll use. I'll use the Ghost Tube occasionally, not as much anymore, and I'll use the Echovox. And the ones that I don't like, one that I particularly don't like is the Spirit Talker because it says like 10 words, and you can just kind of cherry pick and pick ones you want to be relevant to whatever you're doing. And I'm watching this one group out there on this bridge, and they have the Spirit Talker app, and it's just again word, 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 and they're picking that word and that word and that word and that word as being
So they're not
relevant
using them all.
to
They're
the
just picking whatever fits.
yeah, but and they're shoehorning it into the narrative of whatever urban legend happened on this particular bridge,
Okay.
and I'm just like, mm, I'm watching it like, I just wouldn't do that. I mean, the obelisk will again, it depends on EMF. The obelisk reading EMF and taking other measurements will spit out a word or two. Spirit, the other box that we have does the same thing, but you know, I'm hesitant to use something that has 10 words to pick from, and knowing that somebody probably programmed in words to it that are relevant to. I mean, it says on the app it's entertainment purposes, but it's
Right.
more relative to a haunting as opposed to just
So
a dictionary or a
So having said that,
database.
do you think that it's because people really don't know what these things really are for entertainment purposes, and they're really not geared towards an actual
No, I think
scientific, or do you think it's just people know it, but it just makes it easier because then you can just pick it in
it's
fit it to what you want
it's.
it to fit?
I mean, you could look at it in one of two ways. Is it theoretically possible that somehow the spirit has manipulated the word bank,
Sure.
and yet the spirit didn't have the ability to pinpoint the word or two words? Instead,
A random.
you got such a charge where it was a lot of words, and yet those two words were in there that were relevant. Possible, but I don't know. I think it's just again, it's one of those things where I tried it 2 or 3 times and I just wouldn't use it. Remember, we were at the Creeper Gallery, and I had it, and it was just, and you and I were looking at it, and we
We're
were
like,
like,
nah, no, just throw it to the side.
But again, is it possible? Sure, anything's possible,
It
I
is.
guess. But
we do when it comes to what we're doing. We do like to take the. We don't like to have to question and have to you know. We don't want things that we want to fit a narrative. We do want
some
something
things are
that's
relevant.
authentic.
You look for relevancy.
I get that,
and
but
even
we
with the
don't
Spirit
want
Talker,
we don't want it to be if we can help it. We don't want it to be questioned. Just like when we put out there that there are people that live upstairs at the Creeper Gallery. When we start hearing them and we know they're there, we're honest and we tell people. Yeah, you know what? No, we can't do that EVP. No, we got to throw this out. We got to stop it now because you know that they're up there. They just we hear the TV that's on and it picks up everything. If there are people outside that are walking by, we're very honest with the people that there are people that are out there. You don't want to disillusion or mislead anybody on anything. You want it to be as authentic as you possibly can get it.
Someone had coffee. You can see.
So what? Hi to everyone that we didn't get to say hi to. We did see you come on, and we just want to say a general hello to everybody that's on tonight.
Yes.
I personally do, real quick before you go jumping in. I would like to go back with a 2 people maybe, and really center on, because we had to jump all over everywhere, and just center on that area where that shadow figure I saw, and see what would happen right there, and what we could get. Content, because we didn't really get to concentrate on that. That was a spot that I really wanted to go to really bad, by the bathroom area. where the gentleman had a heart attack and passed away. I just feel that that area, and you knew that as soon as I went down there, I did all of the stuff and put it down there, and things were happening, but we never focused on that area in a way that I think we really needed to. And I do hope at some point we go back and we do that.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things where we didn't know there was going to be that many people there, and sometimes less is more when you're, really trying to just narrow things down to where you're controlling all the variables and contaminants, in a way that you best serves the investigation.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of hard when you have 6, 7 more people and they're not all together, and some are here, some are over there, and you're trying to do whatever. But yeah, you definitely go back with less people and try at least that area again. But um, it's worth another look, especially that
For there,
section.
for
Yeah,
that section. Again, we did do all the other, but we still haven't, and that was that. And I did tell you before we even went, that was a key spot that I really wanted to concentrate on, and it just didn't happen. And I really, really want to do that
I
because
mean,
if there's anything, I really do believe it's right there.
Maria, I'm sure they would let us do that, but it's just a matter of are we confident enough to bring people in? I mean, we had such little activity when we were in there, to charge people, you know, I don't know. Again, it's something that we need to go back and cover more with less, to see, what we're really picking up. What is that? A few investigations ago, one of the participants was using an app on his phone. Yeah,
Transcensory.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I tried that one too, Deb. But I don't know if I like that one either. I try them all, but I don't know if I really like that one. But anyway, so I'm going over all that stuff, and when I get it all together, we'll do a video where we kind of just show it, and we pause through it, and we talk about the stuff that we did capture, and whether or not you guys can hear what we hear, and in between then, this week especially is going to be pretty busy because probably should have gone to the Creeper Gallery tonight, but um, my back has been really bothering me, and my shoulder and my neck. So yesterday and today was mostly like heating pad the whole entire time and trying to just
I kind of forbid him from
recover.
doing anything.
So and again, I'm having problems with my eyes again, and I'm going to the doctor Thursday. So see what happens there. But we're trying to fit a lot of stuff into this week because we have the event Saturday with Jawan at the mine, which we're all looking forward to. But we do have Cody Satori coming on Wednesday, and I thought that was Thursday, but it's Wednesday, and that kind of threw things off for me because we wanted to get into the Creeper Gallery this week, and it would have been tomorrow, but I'm hanging out with my kids tomorrow night probably. So we're going to do the interview with Cody Satori on Wednesday, talk about their book, talk about the Haunted Museum, talk about the event we're doing with John Zaffis and Cody Satori on May 3rd, which still has tickets available, by the way, at Camp Evans. First time Cody and Satori will ever be there. They've always ever been at the mine with us.
Yeah.
They've never been to Camp Evans, so it'll be their first time experiencing Camp Evans, which again, for us, that's one of my favorite places. It really is. From the day we got in there and we met with the director there, who is a friend of ours now. I'd heard about that place. I know they've been doing paranormal stuff years ago, and they had a haunted thing that they did where they dressed people up. But I had heard, but until we got in there,
we didn't have a clue.
It was one of those places where it was like, holy crap, there's stuff in the basement. Holy crap, there's stuff on the second floor. Holy crap, there's stuff in the attic.
Holy crap, there's stuff in the bunker.
Yeah, Disneyland. It's just like, wow, this is great to have.
Basement.
And then Ben came in there for channel 11.
I think that was the last
That
straw.
was the last straw for Ben.
Ben from Pix 11 after what happened there, or was it Liberty Hall?
No, it was there.
That was the
Yeah,
last time he
yeah.
did something with us. He finally just said, "Yeah, no, this stuff is just too, it's too real and it's too scary, and I think we're skipping it."
I should show that again.
Right?
I should show
That was
that again and do a
hysterical.
commentary on that one. And just
Oh
play
my god.
that special that they did, the Halloween special, and we can comment on it as we go because Ben's a great guy, man. But
He
Ben,
was a good sport. And again, John and Tanya really tortured him with some of the experiments they had him do. It was
we
like they
did
got
no different than we did to anybody else at any
meaning
other event.
the man was afraid, and they still blindfolded him,
He
and they
could have
put
said
him
no.
down in. He could have, and they would like take his watch and put it off into spaces and stuff, and something responded that it liked his watch and wanted to keep it.
They could have said, "Don't take my watch."
He could have. I'm not saying it in a bad
Well,
way.
you sound
I'm
like
just
you are.
saying that you
You said we
guys
tortured you.
yes, because for some people that stuff is it's not scary for you and Tanya, but there are some people that have a fear
that don't have
of,
free will that could say.
I didn't say
no?
that. I'm just saying that sometimes that people, but he still
So
did it.
he wasn't with us 2 times before that where he did the exact same thing.
I said
what you
that.
said?
I said that you guys put him through the paces. You guys tortured him on the ghost hunts.
Whatever, torture. So what we're going to do Saturday is torture people. Is that what you're saying?
When you put the blindfold on and you stick them in scary places, that's my idea of torture.
You heard her. So blindfolding someone and have someone coming up behind them when they're unaware, is that torture?
Was not intentional.
But
and I
would
didn't
you
realize
would you
that
categorize that as torture?
But see, you go right in for you go in for the nasty little. You can't see. I never met anything bad.
Torturing people isn't bad.
As a John. Anyways, we're gonna move on. No, Anne, I didn't get that feeling in that spot at the Germain thing. What happened was that we got that EVP there where a male spoke in German, and it was translated for us, and it was basically like "da," and that made me want to go back and wanted me to look into that area more because we knew that somebody had passed away in that spot. And it just happened to be that when I did put the tripwires and put stuff there, a shadow figure did happen that night we were there, and the tripwire, every time Adolf was speaking German, those tripwires would go off. And I don't mean where it goes from purple to blue. It was going all the way up to red. I mean, it was like flashing all over, and then the stuff we put on the steps was going off because we had different sensors there for if something walked by. And when that shadow figure went, all of them went.
Well, again, our contact there claims to have seen shadow figures there a few times, and he claims to be sensitive to spirits or and that's why we went in there in the first place. He contacted us, and again, Carl's a good guy. Heather's really, really nice. Siggy is awesome. And, that's part of the cool thing about what we do too, is that we get to meet those people. Yeah. I'll tell you something that happened to me. Everybody who knows me and who's ever been to a New Jersey paranormal event of any kind knows initially it's going to take at least a year before I remember your name. It's just I am horrible when it comes to names. Some names stick, other names I just can't remember. I don't know. It's like a block that I have. So I go to the bagel shop near my daughter. My daughter lives in Edison, next town or 2 towns over. And I had to drop something off for her. And I go to the bagel shop to get Chris an egg sandwich, and I got a bagel for me too. And I ordered what I was getting. There was a woman behind me. She was ordering. I'm now sitting at the table waiting for her egg sandwich. And this woman sits at the table right across from me. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at her, although I was looking at my phone. And she said, "John Ruggiero." And I said, "Yeah." She said, "You don't have a clue who I am, do you?" And I said, "Not a clue." I didn't. And she said, if you're watching, Mark Mark Corrado's wife. And we've known Mark for years now, coming to our events way back in the day. And I think we met her maybe once or twice, but that was about it. And we talked about Mark and about her family and other stuff, and it was really again getting the chance to. But I didn't have a clue
You won't forget
who
now.
she was, and I always like when people do that to me. It's always like in the paranormal world, if you know anything about it, there's lots of drama, lots of stuff that goes on.
Oh, that's what you first thought?
So you never know who's approaching you, what they're going to say to you. So I was like, yeah, I don't have a clue, but go ahead. And real nice. Again, we've known Mark for years, and Mark's a good guy and has a real nice family. Sends us Christmas cards every year.
Yeah.
With pictures of his family. But yeah, that happened, and that was kind of weird. But
I don't think I ever met her.
She's real nice. But so let's get back to Cody Satori. Apparently, they wrote a book. It's about case files for their haunted objects. Don't know the title of the book, but I think it's available. We'll find out when we interview them where you can get it. But we haven't seen Cody Satori since December. Oh. We haven't had them on here for probably a year or more. They haven't been on with us in a real long time. So it'll be good to have them back here and with us at an event. And again, first time ever at Camp Evans where we tortured Ben from Channel 11.
Tortured.
Again, Camp Evans, I'm going to play that segment again because, again, there's levels. And it's one of those rare buildings that has those kind of levels of different things that go on there because it was used for many different things. And John really likes that building. You talk to John Zaffis about going places, and he's been to the mine. He likes Camp Evans more than he likes the mine. He really likes going there.
Yeah.
And when there was a chance that we may not be going back to Camp Evans, he was really disappointed about that.
I know.
And then we found out we were going back, and he was like, yeah, good. I like that place.
What's the title of the books, ladies? I saw Linda and Deb both said they have a copy.
While we wait for that, they will be back on. And again, we'll talk about the book. We'll talk about their museum. And they will have objects from their museum. And John will have objects from his museum.
That's going to be interesting.
And there's not going to be a ton of them. I'm sure there'll be like 5 from each maybe. But they'll be on display at that event at Camp Evans on May 3rd. So you could check all them out. You could take your pictures. And you know me. I'll take the worst of John's and the worst of Cody's.
You will too.
Jolene, that doll, and that doll is a conduit. No doubt about
it. Same here, Celine.
If you've ever seen the picture of Jolene, she looks kind of like a big Raggedy Ann doll. She's pretty big.
She looks innocent
and
sweet.
When I investigate that doll, I always get a reaction, and she was a conduit. The first night we were in Waynesboro, I wasn't getting any activity on the floor that I was on, really. Second floor of, what was the name of that building? Not the Hoover House, the other one we went to. Aller? What?
Aller House.
I wasn't getting a whole lot of activity there, and I brought, I just forgot her name again. What's her name? Jolene. I brought Jolene into the one corner room that this woman had tuberculosis, and she basically lived out her last days in this open air room. And Jolene, bam, I was able to tap right into the energy of what was going on in that room by using her as a conduit.
Isn't that
It was so cool. Everything. I put Jolene in the corner. I was getting anything. I'm like, Jolene, if you can help me. And if you were there, you saw it. I think Veronica and others were there. It was like, bam. She was the conduit, and like she was the buffer in between the spirit that was there and her.
But isn't that strange that you used a haunted object to bring in or to get something to communicate to you from a haunted place.
Yeah. What was that? Okay, it's
It's
what?
titled Archives of the Paranormal.
So, and then again,
Thank you.
using Cody and Satori's objects, which I'm going to do on May 3rd when we go to Camp Evans. We're not just going to investigate the building. We'll have the objects up there. Maybe we'll do like a real quick EVP session with a few of the objects with the entire group. But I'm going to grab a couple. I'll grab Jolene and I'll grab one from John. And really, really quick, when it comes to Cody Satori's, Jolene and Liza are the two most active ones. When we were at the Aller House or whatever it's called, second time, okay, and I was in the basement with them. There was a different spirit in the basement, and that one intimidated the hell out of the two dolls where I couldn't get anything for the first time ever with those two dolls in the basement. I kept trying to talk to them and they wouldn't respond. No lights, nothing.
So you had the opposite effect of instead like the TV room where Jolene brought it out in the basement.
Yeah, if I was going to finish my story, you would have heard. But so Brian Raleigh was with me down there, and I said to Brian, I think the dolls are intimidated by the spirit here. Get the dolls out of here because I don't want to subject them, because we were getting some curse words. I don't want to subject them to any negative energy that's trying to, whatever, do something to them. As soon as we removed those dolls, it was F. Every curse you can imagine, and doors were opening and closing. Whatever spirit was there was more dominant than them and literally stopped them and made them afraid to respond.
Yeah, but
it was so cool.
Yeah, but nothing was happening while they were down there.
No, nothing, zero.
But once you removed them,
whatever I tried to get wasn't related to them. It was a curse word or two.
It was okay.
And I knew it wasn't them because they
don't
do that.
They don't do that.
And I thought whatever's here is the more dominant spirit, and they are totally shutting up and not even.
I'd like to do that again next year.
But that was pretty cool. So I like using, again, Jolene. I'll bring her to the one area that I go to, and I'll try to talk to her a little bit and do an EVP session, and then I'll ask for her help. Look, if there's anybody you see around here, could you try to get them to step up and come forward? Because she's proven to have done that before, So if you haven't, May 3rd, Cody, Satori, John Zappis, they'll have some haunted objects. We're going to investigate so much. There's so many areas of that building that we investigate. Info Age is a huge building, and if we could use the bunker across the way, we will. Cool place. So May 3rd, tickets are available to that. There's probably less than 10 left to that event, if that. So if you want those tickets, New Jersey Paranormal at yahoo.com. You have to spell out New Jersey Paranormal at yahoo.com. And again, you're not going to be disappointed at that event. That's going to be a good one. And to see Cody and Satori's reaction to that building should be pretty cool as well. And again, you get to investigate with them and John.
And especially the stuff that happens up on that second floor. I mean, honestly, and there's not a bad spot in that whole entire building. The attic, the second floor. You've got the basement, that hallway in the back where all the old radios and transmissions and all of that stuff's over there, and the first floor. We did a room, maybe one or two rooms on the first floor, and then the last couple times we were given access to rooms that were locked. And I haven't got to investigate them, but our team member Danielle, and she said there was a lot of activity, and actually John Zappis had a really good time in one of the historical rooms on that first floor. That it was so busy, that's where they stayed.
Yeah.
They didn't have, and they had like 4 of the rooms to pick from. They just right there because it was so active.
And again, if you go back, I'm going to play it again. When Ben was there, I mean, he literally was just like, after that. And we were like, hey, and that's the one he texted me and thought that something followed him home.
Yeah.
Because of his watch and there was
lights.
A child.
There was something with lights, and he was hearing sounds, and
But it was pretty cool. Anyway, get tickets for that one if you don't. May 3rd. That's going to be a really, really cool day. and I'm not gonna say try because we are going to be back at the Creeper Gallery on Thursday night. Now we
Yep.
have an event on Saturday, so again, but we are gonna go back there Thursday night. Uh, I think it still gets dark at 7:30, so probably start at 7:30. I'll check the time it gets dark because now we're getting into that weird range where it
Yeah.
might not be getting dark till 8 o'clock. So we'll see. But we'll probably start 7:30, 8 o'clock at the Creeper Gallery on Thursday. It's been 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks. So it's been a while. And I know there's a few objects that we couldn't do the last time that we kind of saved
Yeah.
for this time. So, me, I enjoy the haunted objects. That's a fact. That is a fact. The darker, the better, but the nice ones tend to surprise me every now and then too.
Which one? Which one of the ones that you did that really did surprise you of late?
That was a nice one.
Yeah.
Don't remember. The nice ones don't stay with me. You know, it just
I think there was one that you did and it took you. It wasn't this last time that we did. I think it was the one time before that. And again, it is sometimes hard to remember some of the. It's usually the ones that impact you on such a level, like or breaks your heart.
I know the
That
one did
that
like
stick.
you recently.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you get quiet.
I said yeah. I said yeah. Anytime that I tried to go near it,
Yeah.
it
Oh
would
yeah.
set
Because
things
you
would
offended the
react.
guy by calling
I
him
did not
what did you call him again?
offend.
He was a stitcher
A
or
knitter. He was a knitter. It said on the
but he was a
knitter.
master knitter, and you said
It didn't say
there
master
weren't
knitter on it.
many males that you thought were, and he took offense to that. You have to be mindful that spiritual people, they have emotions, just like we have. So you can't just willy nilly, you know, put down someone's life's work.
And this is why sometimes it's best to stay quiet and not comment.
We actually,
Because we probably get
I can't
booted
read
off
that.
of.
We actually bought Alex. What does that say? The one.
She brought Alex. Well, it was the book was Alex, and he had the book of Alex the Great on the chair.
Oh, the book that disappeared.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the whole expo mystery. What happened to that book that went missing for a while and then turned up again? I can't read that. I never forget the what? Could you read that?
I cannot read those. The Ouija board investigation.
Oh, that was one of my all time.
Hi, Heather. Hi, Louise.
See, this is why I'm going to
Louise.
encourage you guys. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way. I'm really, 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 really going to encourage you guys to follow us on YouTube and like and subscribe to the channel. You'll just like the videos too, because that means it reaches more people. Because Facebook is doing this deal now where after 30 days, the videos are gone from our page.
Yep, they delete them.
Anything like, a month from now, you'll be able to see this one and maybe one Creeper Gallery investigation that we just did, and that's it. Nothing else.
I know you had a hard time, like the first time when they made the changes where the video didn't even post after.
Well, I think that was a glitch. But yeah, you guys, if you want to see, or if you missed anything, or if you want to go back and watch it, and you just started following us, go to YouTube, because everything we do here is there. Even this right now is there. So definitely look up New Jersey Paranormal, make sure it's us, and like and subscribe, because whenever we go live, it'll go on there, and you can go through all the archives of the video. So that Ouija board video in particular, that was probably, if I had to even guess, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe. And that was a damn good one. There's a lot of damn good ones back there. If you go through the archives when we just started at the Creeper Gallery, we were there for a year or two, and we had never we never investigated objects before. That was a whim. We were doing the cable access show, and I ordered a bunch of quote unquote haunted objects from
You were testing a theory.
all different places, and I had Jane Doherty come on, and she did a reading, and then we showed the evidence to see if it matched up with the story.
She was spot on with all of them.
And that was our first kind of dabble into haunted objects. I was just curious. And then following that, I found this shop that Zach Baggins bought the entire inventory of the Creeper Gallery for his museum in Las Vegas before he opened it. Cleaned it out. He bought everything, and Donna made him some animatronic pieces as well. So I'm reading this article and I'm like, where's this place in New Hope? And again, long story short, we went there, met Donna, we got along right away, investigated the store, and then started with the objects there. And I mean, through the years, it's been
Oh,
nothing but
there's
weird.
a lot of weird stuff, and some stuff that just didn't have anything to it. The haunted object that was in the trunk where all the stuff was going on was actually this. One of them was a bicentennial angel that had been in a fire, and supposedly the child that it belonged to died in the fire, and that one filled the car with smoke when John was driving, and it was in the trunk. And it was funny because I think it was the same object. You removed it and you put it in the trunk, and when he was driving away, it popped like his trunk opened on the highway. Do you remember that?
That was the angel.
That was the angel, the burnt one. So after he moved it out of the car into the trunk after that happened, because he called me and he was choking and stuff. And then I was following him, and we were actually headed over to the School of Decray for an investigation. And he decided, I'm just keeping this doll in the trunk. I'm not going to have it in the car so I don't smell it. And he still had the smoke smell, didn't go away. And all of a sudden, as we must have been 4 miles away from leaving here, and his trunk all of a sudden just went flying open. There were like a lot of strange things that kept happening.
Yeah, every time I was around that thing, I would choke.
Oh, Heather, I wish I could do that.
I was in a smoky building. That was when I first started experiencing what quote unquote haunted objects were capable of. It was really annoying me. Oh, it's not centered. That's when again I was like, wow, could this be real that they can affect you physically and other
That was like the first ways. Big time, right?
And I would cough my brains out whenever I handled that thing, and I was like, I got to get rid of this. And I sold it to someone directly who collected haunted objects.
Yeah.
And the one that you're talking about, Heather, was that friggin' doll that her cat, maybe our cat, I should say, it's our cat now, was trying to kill me. But somebody had a haunted doll. They didn't want it in their house. They warned me about it. And I'm like, yeah, send it to me. And I forgot all about the person, the woman took so long to send it. I forgot all about it. So I get this box and I'm like, bring it inside. I cut it open and I'm like, what is this? And the cat immediately came running up and jumped on the bed. I had it on the bed. And I took it out and her tail went real wide and she hissed and I'm holding the thing and she went right at me. And then I pulled the doll away and I'm like, what are what the hell? And she jumped up and tried to get my face. And she'd never done that before or since. John. I took that doll and I threw it up on the dresser and I took a towel and I blocked her and I ran out of the house.
So he did run. And the funny thing is, I'm pulling in parking as John comes hightailing out of the apartment. And he's going, you're a crazy cat. You're a crazy cat. And I'm like, well, what happened? He goes, I get this doll.
She tried to kill me. I mean, she was going for blood. And I had to.
That was funny.
We had to wrangle her out of there and I had to get the doll and that's when I put it in the car.
She didn't calm down.
No
when
way.
The doll was in the house, she was going nuts. And she's got issues already, but she's never done that to John.
No, I've never seen an animal react that way to anything ever. Go from just around to totally psychotic. That was again a first for me, but I live for those moments, man. I love that because it's just, one more thing that you put in your little chest of memories of things that happen as a result of quote unquote the paranormal. It makes it more real. You know what I mean? It really does when stuff like the thing that happened to you when you lost track of time in that building, like when you dropped the flashlight and you passed out.
I don't remember those things.
And when we were doing an event with the sensors, all that stuff makes it so much more real, And that's the thrill you get when you're with people. Like this one woman sends me an email. Normally we don't let people under like 16 at
Yeah.
our events because you're never sure of their maturity level or what they can handle. And this woman sends me an email and she goes, we want to attend, I think it's the Camp Evans event, to be honest with you, with John Zappis and Cody Satori. She says, we want to attend your event. My son's 15. He's been on several ghost hunts, and she mentioned the name of the buildings. And, you know, some of these buildings were the real deal, supposedly
Okay.
real scary and haunted. And she's like, it's kind of a belated birthday gift for him. Would you think of allowing
Allowing
him
it.
to come? And I was like, yeah, if he handled those buildings, then you know,
You should be able to handle
but you're
this.
responsible for him. If he starts freaking out or he starts whatever, then
And one of the reasons why we are like really adamant about not letting usually anybody under a certain age coming is because when we first started doing events for historical sites and some of them we didn't sell the tickets, there was a couple that came or two women that came with a child of about 9 years old.
oh God,
And
I know what you're going to talk about.
he had a breakdown and started crying and freaking out and he had to be removed and we thought she was taking him home. We found out later she put him in the car and left him in the car. And so that's just not something that we ever want that to be open to, or a child or anyone. And we say child, but again,
No, that kid was 7 and 9 years old.
he was
young.
traumatized.
And he was clinging to his mother
He was
the whole time.
traumatized.
We felt, and literally, I know I said to her, he doesn't look like he's handling this. Oh, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. And then yeah, all of a sudden the kid was with her and she was still there.
Another woman showed up at the mine with
Yeah.
a young boy, and it wasn't that he didn't handle the investigation. It was that we tell you that the mine is at a steady 55, 56 degrees. It's cold when it's damp in there. It's cold. She brings him in a t-shirt. He was freezing, freezing. And she's like, don't ignore him. Whatever. And I ended up having to take my hoodie and stuff and give it to him to wear because he was so cold. And it was just like, I'm doing what we're doing. You can't stop what you're doing. And I even suggested you might want to think about leaving. You might want to think about taking him out. And like, she absolutely refused to do that.
Yeah, they figure they're paid. They're gonna.
I get that.
The car and crack the window.
Somebody's well-being comes first.
No, that'll get you on the ban list really quick.
I'd rather be
we know
cold
about
than a
that,
child.
and we're selling you the ticket, and we just stuff like that. No, you're not gonna come back after that. But again, yeah, that was one of the weirder ones when we found out that she put him. It was night. We didn't know.
No, we thought she had left.
Yeah, we thought either the child went with somebody else and they left together or whatever. Next thing you know, we're wrapping up at the end of the night and we find out that he was in the car the whole time.
That's
It's like, why would you ever, if that was my child, the last thing I would be mad and kind of like, oh, we spent all this money and whatever, but I would never get in the car. I'll be back in
especially
2
when
hours when this is over.
traumatized. Because I don't, and it reminds me of John and I years ago went to this really late night showing of Jason. Was it Jason in Space? What was that one called?
I've seen them all.
But anyways, I went. I'm not a horror person. I don't like watching these things. But it was what he wanted to see, and it was like once. Yeah, it was Jason.
It was Jason X.
Jason X. Okay, so but he was in space. That's where it was on and he came whatever. So we go to see this, and it's like 1:30 in the morning, the showing, and we walk in, and of course the theater is pretty much empty. There's hardly anybody there at that time in the morning, and in walks this young couple with their two little kids, and they sit in the same row, and the little girl sitting next to me, and her little brother. And when I say little, I'm saying like 4 and 5. And through the whole entire movie, me being a stranger, she's buried into my shoulder because she's terrified.
You notice there's always Mother Teresa stories from how you.
It's not. It's just
help people.
It's not. That's what happened. That has nothing to do with. That's what happened. And you and I both said to them, like we kept saying they shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be here.
That was like the one time we were driving to an event in I think it was the mine, and this plane crashed. It was a small plane, and I got out and I ran through the woods and literally pulled 10 people out of that plane. True story.
Do you
I thought
notice
I had
that
to
he
get in this.
tries to get
I
me
thought I had to
going?
get in this.
He
I had to get in this.
purposely, he's that little kid that goes,
All right, it was
I'm
9
not
people.
touching you.
9
I'm not
people.
touching you.
9
I'm not
people.
touching you. Why would that story bother you?
Because you told 2 stories in a row about how you saved 3 children.
I didn't realize you were keeping count.
I'm trying to
and
listen.
keeping
I
like
listen.
a
You don't think I
journal.
listen? I listen.
I'm surprised you do.
I like to remain anonymous with my goodwill, as you can tell.
What does that have to do with anything about a poor
I'm
child
just
being
saying.
scared?
I like to remain anonymous.
Oh my God. Somebody, listen.
Some of us need the
Do we have a wedding coming up?
others. Yeah, you were talking about that today. There was a young, scared child at the event in
The
David
David
Stewart
Stewart
Farm
Farm.
in Gettysburg that should not have been there.
Yeah.
That's the one we did?
I think I know who she's talking about too.
Was that ours?
Yeah.
I would never go back there. No offense to the location. Again, another place that's rumored to be haunted and everything, but I won't go back there again. Talk about, again, they may do things different now, but when we went there, the ground was soggy, wet. It was hot.
Mosquitoes
And
Jurassic mosquitoes.
we were, allowed to go into the barn. And when we went in the house, the person who owned it at the time was there with her cats or dogs or whatever. And it was just like, eesh.
Yeah. Popping the soda can you could hear on the recorder. And then you could, we were in the barn, you could hear the cow. Yep. I bombed her while she's using my TV to block that. And then the cows were mooing right by the barn where we were doing our thing, because it was reported used as a morgue or whatever, where the soldiers would hide, and you could hear the cows. So it was just like, whatever you tried to do was kind of like, it was pretty bizarre.
We were going into the barn to set things up before people got there. And you push open this big red door, and Tanya was in the front, and she was holding a TV that we would use. And as soon as she pushed it open, there were pigeons on the posts, and it literally came right at her and by her head and flew out of the barn. And she cursed, and she was like, almost dropped the TV.
She's lifting up the TV to block the darn. It was hysterical. She's screaming. And what was she calling? What is that? Cabra, choop, whatever. She was calling all kinds of names and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, it's a bird. It's a bird. That was all.
So, like I said, just to wrap up again, Claudia's tutorial will be on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We'll probably be at the Creeper Gallery 7:30 or 8 o'clock on Thursday. Live on Facebook and YouTube. And again, subscribe to YouTube because everything is there. 30 days, they won't be gone. Everything will be on YouTube. And we're doing pretty good. Those numbers are starting to go up on YouTube, which is kind of cool. But Saturday is the event with Joanne. If you guys are there, we'll see all you guys there. Yeah. Next week, John Zappis will come on, and then we'll talk about some of his haunted objects and his experiences at Camp Evans. And then the week after that is when Donna and Michelle Wire will be on, and we'll cover psychometry, and we'll talk about haunted objects and how some people can lay their hands on them and get impressions and do readings of them. And again, we got to figure out a way how to do an example of that. I'll talk to Donna about that because I don't know how we're going to work that out. But we'll figure it out. I'd like her to do at least 2 live, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. John's got this.
Well, I'm just thinking if we bring something she hasn't been exposed to from the shop or anything.
But she's going to have it regardless. Whatever it is, she's going to have to promise that she won't read it until
Good night, Ann.
She's live with us. We'll do it that way. Other than that, a lot going on. Again, I'm trying to keep my word and stick with interviews and get more people on and have more discussions, which I really like to do. It's just a matter of booking them and getting people on. There's so many subjects that I want to talk about. I mean, we did the UFO. We didn't even wrap up the UFO thing with Tom. Um, we've known Tom for several years.
Yeah.
And I can honestly
I
say,
don't think we've ever really talked to
that's
him.
what I was just going to say. I can honestly say that I've never really had a conversation with Tom. Um, I just took it that he was an expert. He'd been doing it a long time. And I mean, I got to tell you, there were, you guys know me. I mean, when it comes to certain things, my beliefs don't always jive with other people when it comes to Bigfoot. And I do believe in aliens. I do believe in UFOs, but there were some things in that interview that were kind of wonky to me, and we didn't really get a chance to. But, Tom came on and told his truth, his experiences. And I never had any of those experiences. So it's really hard for me to put yourself into. I do it with hauntings as well. I mean, when I hear about particular hauntings, some are famous, some aren't, even in the private.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to wrap my brain around the level of activity some people say that they're experiencing sometimes, But again, they lived through it, they experienced it.
Hi, Richard.
So it is kind of cool to talk to them about that and hear their perspective and get their experiences, whether it chimes with me or not.
It
It
Hi,
is
Kara.
very interesting. So we'll see you guys Wednesday night. Cody Satori, if you guys have any questions about the book, about the objects, the history of the objects, about what they're doing now, any of that, just come on and watch and we'll read the questions and we'll ask them. But other than that, we'll see you Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and then 2 nights in a row, we'll talk about haunted objects, and then we'll investigate haunted objects on Thursday. So we'll see you then.
That's a good wrap up.
Thank you. I've been doing this a little while.
Yeah, haven't you?
And the one time we were going to Camp Evans where there was okay.
You fell on something. Yes, I know. Have a good night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and please, it's very important, especially in the type of world we're living in. Remember to be kind to each other, even if you don't believe the same way and you don't see the same way. Be kind. It makes all the difference in the world. Good night.
Hey guys.